Louise and I saw this movie Noah over the weekend, and normally I don't make a movie, the subject of a talk show. But this has become so controversial. You've got all these right-wing Christians freaked out about it. And I think they're freaked out. Jesus doesn't appear in the movie. Of course, this is an Old Testament story. In fact, it's from Genesis, the first book of the Old Testament. So it's kind of like, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years before Jesus. But, and you've got, what is it, Russell Crowe plays Noah? Good-looking guy. And what an incredible voice. Russell Crowe has the voice that my whole life wished he can talk. Boy, he's just got this incredible voice. Anyhow, according to the Bible, according to the movie, it's Russell Crowe was the father of Shem and Ham and Japheth. But according to the Bible, he was 500 years old when he became the father of them. He doesn't quite look 500 years old in the movie, but anyway. And all the sons had daughters in the Bible. So the movie took some considerable liberties with the original story. And their daughters made it onto the family, and in fact, Genesis 7:13, on that very day, Noah and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. And this was in the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the 2nd month. And Methuselah was his grandfather, and Methuselah appears in the form of, what's his name? Silence of the Lambs. Who's the actor? Anthony Hopkins. And he plays Methuselah, the oldest man who ever lived. And actually, if you do the math in the Bible, it looks like Methuselah actually did die the year that the flood started. So it's interesting. And here's a couple of other interesting things that, are sort of not said, but if you watch the movie knowing this, you get it. I was, back when we started the Children's Village in New Hampshire years ago, Louise and I have been vegetarians since we were 16, 17 years old. And it was a vegetarian program. And the Seventh-day Adventists took a real like to us. The Seventh-day Adventists read the Bible. In the Bible, it says, don't eat meat. Basically, it says, just eat vegetables. They're there for you. And it isn't until after the flood, up until the flood, everybody's living 600, 700, 800 years long, right? And even Noah finally died when he was 600 and something. But after the flood, God blessed Noah, and he says, and this is Genesis 9:3, he says, the fear and dread of you will fall on all the beasts of the earth, and on all the birds of the sky, and on every creature that moves along the ground, and on all the fish in the sea. They are given into your hands. Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything. And what the Seventh-day Adventists will tell you, and I or at least what they told me, I don't want to represent myself as any kind of expert on Seventh-day Adventist doctrine. I've attended a few of their services. They were kind enough to donate some books and a lot of food, and helped out a lot when we were building houses for kids. The local Seventh-day Adventist community up in New Hampshire, back in the late 70s when we were building a community for abused kids. But what they told me, and I'm assuming that this is the actual doctrine, is that back before the flood, everybody was vegetarian. After the flood, Noah started, and Noah's sons started eating meat. They lived fairly long, but that was pretty much the end of it. After that, and in fact, in the Bible, it just even says God rebooted the life. Okay, Noah lived 950 years, then he died. 350 years after the flood. But it basically says that God decided that humans would only live 120 years. And I thought I had highlighted that, but apparently I haven't. But it's here in Genesis. You can find it. And So anyhow, that and what the Seventh-day Adventists say is, you want to live long, eat vegetarian. But I'm curious, if you saw the movie Noah, or even if you didn't and you want to opine on this, I mean, this goes back to my theory. I mean, there's an almost word for word, or certainly idea for idea story of a biblical flood in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is, 3,000 years before the Bible. And I believe there's an old Zoroastrian tradition of it also. And so I would bet that on the edge of the agricultural revolution, around 6,000 years ago, there was probably some family that lived in a boat. And there was some sort of incredible rain event, right? I mean, a really bad year, and it just rained like crazy. And the local town got flooded, and lots of people died. Or maybe a dam burst, or maybe an iceberg melted, or, I don't know what. I mean, they end up in Mount Ararat, so it was probably an inland lake. And probably the family in the boat survived and everybody else didn't. And, the story gets told and passed down over and over and over again, and boom, you got a Noah's Ark story. But the thing to remember is, like in Genesis, I mean, Adam and Eve had 3 sons, one killed the other, and then got kicked out and went off to the next town over and found a wife. So Adam and Eve, and for that matter, the Noah story, these are not the stories of all of humanity. They're the stories of one tribe, the Hebrew tribe. And every religion has stories like this.